So I'm very excited this morning to introduce our day chair, Oscar Dennis. Oscar and his wife, both members of our club, which is fantastic. Oscar, we don't see that much because he travels all over the country for a car company called Carvana. So if a person needs to understand a car, you know how you get that anxiety, oh my God, I need a car, I don't want to go in and see anybody. Like,
Sean.
you should speak to Oscar, because Oscar really does know the car business really, really well. He joined our club to give back. He joined our club to be engaged in community service. He joined our club for the reasons that we all do, to be part of a community. So welcome, Oscar Dennis.
Good morning, everybody. So it is my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker for today. Sharon is our district governor for the year 2024-2025. And her book club is Minneapolis. She celebrates her 21st anniversary in Rotary this year. Sharon owns the highest property investments for only over the world in every sort of employment. She says she attributes much of her success to her own. This is where she learned public speaking and leadership skills. And we're now recognizing the mentor and welcome her into this community. She is committed to give her back to her. In 2023, she completed the 100th ever fundraiser for our district. Raised $3 million on top of the annual district foundation cheer. For fun, she co-wrote the top 150 women in the world witness on financial behaviors. She was a 5-time Minnesota State favorite and she collects children of very famous women, including Margaret Thatcher and our family. So I would like to welcome to the stage our guest speaker for the day, Sharon.
This is too nice. I'm coming back for this next week. So can I have a raise of hands of who doesn't know me in the room? Just a few. Wonderful, wonderful. All right, super. So if we click to the slides. I was saying that you only usually invite me here in January in the depths of winter. I've never seen it in the light. And I'll have to watch my clock for when I finish, because before I used to know when it was light, then it was time for me to finish. So there we go. No problem. And then before I start, I want to do a very big thank you to Julie Gray, who preceded me as district governor. This district came out of COVID much like a lot of clubs did, with kind of challenged membership and challenged participation. And she did the most beautiful, beautiful job last year of really getting everybody back together and moving again. So I can't thank you enough for that, Julie. And then I also really wanted to thank Russ as well. If it hadn't been for my lunch with Russ at the Swedish Institute, I probably wouldn't be district governor. Because he said, do it exactly the way you want to do it. And so that gave me the ability to think, to design it how I needed to do it, because I still work. So thank you very much for that, Russ. Wonderful, wonderful. So here we almost go. And if not, I'll carry on. So I will tell you a little bit about myself. Is that for those of you that I don't usually explain this when I come and do my investment talk, but I had a very wild and crazy upbringing. My dad worked for an American oil company, so I actually grew up in Central Africa, Indonesia, Texas, you know, Texas is a whole country unto itself. It's fabulous. I love it. And so as a child, I didn't have any regular diseases. I just had malaria. We had an ammunition dump blow up in one of the countries I was in. I've had many bomb threats. Al-Qaeda even tried to, send a letter to our school saying that they were going to murder the women and children when I was, I think that was 13. So wild. But what I learned at a very young age, how lucky I was to be born to the parents I had and the passport I had, and how fortunate I was. And that's really where, my sense of, coming to Rotary has really helped me be ever so grateful, and then also learn to give back. So when we look at the district governor thing for this year, you want me to move it forward? If not, we're just going to have my page. We can make trades too while I'm at it. Yay. There we go. I've got this going. I can do it from here. All right, super. So most of you know when I come here, I talk about investments. So I wanted to make sure that I didn't put the wrong investment slide in. Oops. We don't know why it's not good. That's all right. Can you move it forward? If this isn't moving forward. If not, I can just go off my thing. Yeah. Perfect. Excellent. So next slide. Actually, I'll just I'll go without the slides. We'll do that. Okay. So, oh yeah, there you go. So this year, we have the triple ripple. This is the district governor line, Mark Shockey and Len Hagan. We decided we wanted to bring back the three amigos. We named ourselves. We figured that ripples turn into big waves of new members and new activities. My husband said that, wow, that sounds like an ice cream. So we've actually commissioned an ice cream company to make an ice cream for us that we're going to sell for Rotary. I know, thought God, we're going to have to figure out how to do that in the county. And so I figured that if anything, I will definitely be the nut in the ice cream of everything. So we're really looking forward to that. We're creating, really nice succession. So next slide. Perfect. And then this is Stephanie Urchik, who is our incoming international president. She's really brilliant. There was a area meeting about 2 or 3 years ago, and there were a group of Rotarians sitting at a table, just chatting amongst themselves, and there was this lady standing there, and Tom Governor brought her as a guest. And she was just sitting by herself. So I went down and sat next to her and said, and got to know each other. And she was just wonderful. And we exchanged emails and then promised to keep in touch with each other after that. Well, I kid you not, 2 weeks later, it was announced that she was the incoming president of Rotary. And I emailed her immediately and said, I loved you before you were famous. And she's been the most brilliant person ever. And as in my introduction by Oscar, as you know, I collect shoes of very famous women. And in the district budget, there's a line item for a gift for the incoming district governor. And I said to Alexa, I'm the lady who has everything, I need nothing. strike that from the budget, I don't want it. And at my installation, she had said that she didn't want to not give me anything. So she contacted Stephanie Urchick, who actually sent her shoes to me for my installation, which was really sweet. And they were these crocodile, very sexy shoes. So I thought that was really brilliant. For the $1 million dinner that we had a few years ago, I'd actually interviewed Stephanie again because she always says yes because I knew her before she was famous, and asked her if she hadn't have done kind of her line of work that she did, what would she really have wanted to have been? And she actually always wanted to be a spy, but because she was born in a Slavic country and wanted to do this during the 1980s, it just wasn't possible. So she's a really fascinating lady. She's always strategic. She's very goal-oriented and driven. So this year is going to be just a really rock star year. So now we're going to talk about you. So we'll go to the next slide. I'm so sorry. So now let's look at your club recognition summary. So this is a little bit small, but essentially, thank you. Your all-time giving since inception of your club is $1 million, $97,461, which is just phenomenal. That's what you gave to the Rotary Foundation. So I was wondering whether you guys have celebrated that yet.
Yeah.
No? Well,
Next week.
yeah. Well, I really think that for this year, that's something that you should consider celebrating and really making it very, very, very public that your club literally has raised $1 million for Rotary. That's not insignificant and just absolutely amazing. And so when we look at this as well, you can see your contributions. This shows your kind of annual fund goal is about 20,000 every year. Every year you blow through it. So you're up to 30,000 last year, and there's your total contribution. So I think, Sean, you need to raise your goal. So 20,000 is not the right goal. I reckon it should be 40 as a minimum. So there we go. So who's your head of fundraising? Right, what was saying, and I've never seen such a wealthy happy bucks group ever in a Rotary Club. I mean, throughout 20s and 50s, and we should say, I think we should change it to happy 100 bucks. Yeah. So, but I can't thank you enough. So your club is absolutely wow, which is really brilliant. So I really thank you for that. And then the next slide. Thank you. So when it comes to Rotary, I always say that the world truly is your oyster. If you think about that it takes one single Rotarian to do that can truly change the world. There are 1.4 million Rotarians around the world. So as soon as you, I should speak to you. As soon as you join Rotary, you essentially have 1.4 million friends around you, and there's a $2 billion foundation behind that as well. So anything that you want to do in the world, you can do. I met a young man in my district governor training in Orlando, and he was from Bangladesh, and we ate lunch together, and he told me that many, many years ago, his club had done a fish farming project. And he started to cry, and I thought, oh, I'm surprised. So I asked him more about what the importance of this was. And he said that today, Bangladesh is the 4th largest fish farming country in the world. And you think, and that starts from a Rotary project. There were 2 men that walked over and helped institute the United Nations. That's why I say in Rotary, you truly can do anything. It's up to you to do it individually. If you can't accomplish it in your club, there's a network of clubs or a district or a zone that can help you do that. And so it really is up to you to do what you want to do. So then if we look at the next slide, and we'll go a little bit further. And just one more thing. Perfect. So now let's talk about your membership. So I know this is really small. So you can see that last year through the beginning of June, you were down just 1. You can see again your progression is from like 105, 100, and now we're down to 77. So our district as a whole is the 10th best district in the world for fundraising. We're absolutely dynamite fundraisers, but we were actually one of the lowest in terms of membership. So we've had huge issues as a district, and this is the same with Rotary as a whole, because life has changed and things have changed for our clubs. And so that is the key area that we're going to be focusing on for this year. And your club is not alone. When we look at our overall district, 75% of our clubs are either just staying the same or losing members. So only 25% of the clubs are growing, which, so again, you're absolutely in the same bucket as us. You know me from Club 9. We actually chartered with 100 members when we first started our club. We had a high of 400. When I was president, it was like 150, and now we're 66. And so again, so don't feel that it's only your club, it's actually all clubs that are experiencing this. So we're all in the same bucket together. So when I take a little look at kind of what we have around us, you've got 216,000 employees that work in the office. This is a recent kind of demographics and population by the Downtown Council. So this is post-COVID. So you have 216,000 employees, then you've got 56,000 downtown residents. So as you can see, when you have 77 members, you have lots of opportunity that's sitting right around us. And we look at the top 15 downtown employers, and even if all of our clubs went out and tried to get one from each one of those that has thousands of employees, it would be a terrific year indeed. So again, so you're in the same bucket as all of us. But I've wanted this job for 12 years now, and it hadn't been the right time. And finally it was, and so 2019, I did a year's course in Stanford to learn about innovation and value of an organization. And I wouldn't be here today and with my firm that I have and the life that I have if it wasn't for Rotary. I'm so thankful for everything that Rotary has given me. So I really wanted my district governor year to count. So the last couple of years I've spent with other district governors or from the DG lines around the world, understanding kind of who had the highest growth, what are they doing, what the differences are, so that we can really make a big impact this year. So I've been training the 4 incoming presidents tirelessly, and you know, to the point of irritation, because you know, we really have a lot to do this year. So the first thing is wearing Rotary on the outside. So if you think about our meeting this morning, we're all inside a club that people can't really enter from the outside, and nobody really knows about you. And so the thought is that this year with Rotary, we need to take it outside to be more visible to other people so they can understand what's going on. So the first thing that we're going to do is the state fair. And my husband hates the state fair because he hates crowds. And so he'll only go with me 1 day a year. And so I go the rest of the days because I like to go alone. I like to go to Disney World by myself because nobody slows you down. You don't have to compromise. You can do what you like. And but I did sit there and I thought, you know, when I become district governor, I would love to take 500 of my closest friends to the fair with me, because my head is going to explode to be able to do that. Because you know, when in Rome, too, as the Romans, and again, you know, the Minnesota State Fair is the best thing ever. When I came here as a transplant, I said, well, what do Minnesotans really do? And very quickly, people told me about the fair. And when I went there, oh, I thought I had died and gone to heaven. It's the best thing in the universe. And so then very soon I started entering the competitions, because again, you have to, you know, and I only entered competitions that I think children would enter so that I would have a good chance. So yes, so I've been doing the flower arranging, which coincidentally comes with parking inside the fair. So I am never not going to be a flower arranger ever, because I have the best parking deal in the world as well. But it's going to be a really wild day, and essentially we wanted to start the year off by really showing the rest of Minnesota this is who Rotary is. So you're going to be having crazy hats, you know, crazy gear. All the presidents are going to be marching in the parade. He will be singing and dancing. He doesn't know this yet, but he will be.
The singing, no problem.
We might have a tutu for you, but I'm not sure.
That's okay.
But the hope is that all of you will come and support him in the parade, and then just really have an amazing Rotary Day. And we have so many adventures planned for you. It's going to be you know, really, really thrilling. And so then beyond that, so then the other thing that we're asking clubs to do, so for your share of membership, we're asking every club in the district to all do your campaign raise for membership in September. So we'll almost do it in the exact same month together. And the thought is to create real momentum, and this will be combined with having kind of significant media blitz, billboards and things like that. Now, we know that nobody joins Rotary because of a billboard. But however, what we do know is that 9 out of 10 Rotarians don't refer other Rotarians in. And it's because we're shy and we don't want to bother people, it's awkward. And I can tell you that I'm a reticent referrer myself. Like I always like to refer, but I hate to be asked to refer. So we know, so the thought again is to give you more public encouragement. So those 8 or 9 out of 10 that are a little shyer feel more supported to do it. So we're going to go for gold this year, and we have a few other tricks up our sleeve as well. So the next one is sub-club. So when I looked around the world for like the fastest growing Rotary clubs, other than those that are in the crazy demographic areas that just have a very high population growth, one of the fastest techniques to grow your club is actually called a sub-club. In Iowa, 25% of their clubs in District 6000 have been doing these. And essentially what it is that, so for example, in my club, we meet on Friday at noon at the Minneapolis Club, but many people can't do that. So we exclude doctors, dentists, teachers. There are many people that can't belong to our club because of the time we meet. And now for the last, I don't know, it must be decades and decades, Rotary has always said to district governors, you need to open new clubs in your district. But when you ask me, if you look at our clubs, if 75% of our clubs are just trying to kind of maintain what they have and they're kind of struggling to stay where they are, that's a tall ask. But some clubs are actually clubs within your clubs. So they actually count for your own membership. So you're really incented to do it. So for example, our club, we're starting a club that's called 9 at Night. So it's for people that can't come during the day, they can only come in the evening. And so it actually exists within your own club. So what you look for is interest or other things that you can quickly attach 10 or 20 people and have them join part of your club. So they generally, so what Rotary did a big survey where they actually took 1 million people's thoughts into what makes Rotary attractive and what the future of Rotary is. And what they heard from that is new Rotarians or people that are coming into Rotary are looking for 2 things. One, they're looking for fellowship, and the other one is they're looking for service, and they want less structure. Now, my club is a very traditional club. We haven't changed in 100+ years. And if you look at in America, especially America, your franchises, if you own a franchise, you're pretty much contractually obligated to change it and renew it and refresh it every 5 years. And if you look at all of your rock stars, you also really want them to reinvent themselves every 5 years as well to keep going. But if you look at our Rotary clubs, especially mine, we haven't changed in 100 years. We're still doing the same things, and so you're just not attracting new. And there's not a single club in our district that has a waiting list. And so we should have capacity in the places that we have. So part of this is creating sub-clubs. So I'd ask each and every one of you in this club is that what sort of a sub-club would work for you? We're asking every president, Sharon's running out the door almost, backing up. We're asking every single president to open a sub-club within their club this year, which again will be a way to really have explosive growth. And so it's for your club to decide what makes most sense for you. And I'll throw out a couple of ideas. So, for example, I was born British, we love our gardens. So, like, what if you created a club around gardens? And so Jim's looking at me and saying, you are ruining Rotary. That has nothing to do with Rotary. What are you doing, Sharon? So I'm going to explain to you, Jim, why that would work. And we'll get a little whiskey for your coffee. So the reason that would work, so for example, on the fellowship perspective, you can visit all the clubs around the world that have beautiful gardens, including Singapore and many other clubs in the UK. So that's great from a fellowship perspective. From service, our Club 9 did a organic farm down in Ecuador. If you think about climate change, agriculture is changing all over the world. There can be so many countries that are starving and that have to implement new sorts of things to grow. That club would be busy forever. But it provides an opportunity for the club to exist within Club 9 and kind of be part of the program. So we will be talking more to your club about how to do it and what to do. We actually have one club in the district, and you don't want to be beaten by them, Sean. They actually want to open 4 of them this year. They want one entirely full of educators, other ones are doing ones full of sort of eco as well. So it's food for thought to think what might fit here.
Guitar player. Anybody?
What was that?
Guitar player.
Excellent. I can see a trip to Spain in your future. So The next thing we're going to do again is we're going to redo the same $1 million dinner that we did in 2023. I can't thank this club enough. Your club was extremely generous to us, headed up the $1 million dinner. And so we're going to redo that again for this year. And we'll tell you a little bit more about that. So for polio, so my club, probably the second year I was in my club, Club 9, they said, why are we still doing polio? We need to be doing something else. We're not going to get any young people to join us. Should we start focusing on this as the biggest thing with Rotary? And that was, 20 years ago. And so we've been talking about this for 20 years as to why we're still doing polio now. And it took some ahas a couple of years ago, listening to some incredible speakers that helped me understand the why of polio and why it's so important and why it's still in the very forefront of Rotary. If you think about, there have been very few diseases that have been absolutely eradicated through vaccine. So this is going to be one of them. We're very, very close to the end. So I know that in our lifetimes, polio will be truly eradicated from the world. And being part of this and giving to Rotary means that you are really part of the solution, which is really incredible. Now, we know with COVID, if we'd had the chance to actually eradicate it and stamp it out, all of our lives would be so much better because it's still running rampant and causing trouble. And so the ability to absolutely stamp down on this is really important. And so there are hundreds of millions of dollars that have been thrown into this every year. And I hear a lot of Rotarians say, well, why are we doing that? Why can't we redirect the money? But that's the why. The ability to actually stamp it out would be incredible. So I highly, highly encourage you to give to polio anytime that Tim McCrone comes in a new outfit to your club. Because this is the reason why that you can, it's just absolutely incredible. And if you look at all the organizations that are working on diseases, whether it's cancer and others, we would have such pride in our own organization to say that we actually truly accomplished our mission, during this time. So polio is so really important. And because of that, I can see the end for it, which means there are no more, like with this close, or no more little polio drops in babies' mouths. So I was like, I don't want to miss out. So we're going to India this year, so we can do more little polio vaccinations, because again, there's a finite amount of time before that won't be needed anymore. So that's going to happen in the first quarter of this year. So more information will come out as soon as we're just waiting for the Indian government to announce what day their immunization day is. And then we'll get it up on the district and invite everybody if you want to come to India and then see the Taj Mahal and everything else you can do while you're there. So that's polio. Then crazily enough, so I went to visit a club in the Bahamas, and they eat very differently. They were eating conch fritters, and then at the end of the meeting, they all dance together. They actually all get up and actually dance. I thought it was the best thing I'd ever been to. I said, I'm coming back. And so Carnival Cruises has agreed to take 10,000 pounds of goods for free to the Bahamas for us. And this will be in May 2025. And so as soon as the Bahamian clubs tell us what they need, we'll be going out to all of the clubs and asking for to collect everything that they've asked for. And then anyone who wants to come down on the cruise to deliver it in the Bahamas is welcome. So that's going to be an amazing celebration to the end of your year. So I'll see you in the Bahamas, Sharon. Bring your guitar. Right, so that's the Bahamas. And then, unless you've been under a rock lately, the International Convention is coming here in 2029. That was a huge effort. I think Tom Gump has been trying to get it here for about 10 years. Absolutely brilliant that we were able to get it. But there are a few things to consider. And for those of you who don't know, this is like our Super Bowl. So it's like the biggest thing you ever have in Rotary, and we're just so lucky that we've got it here. Well, Rotary International, we'll just go back a second, thank you. Rotary International, we're doing ever so well, thank you so much. Yeah. And so with the Rotary, the International, Rotary International, they organize the the event and the speakers there, but it's actually the local community that does all of the local hosting. So all of the tours that people come on and really welcoming them. So what I'm asking, Sharon has truly left the room. So I'll tell you what he needs to do, so he can let him know. So what we're asking our club to do is literally go back to every, oh, you didn't actually going outside. We want you to go to every single person who belongs to this club, every friend with this club, and try and get them to join this year. Because the thought is, the thought is that you want to be as big as possible to play as big a part as possible in the welcoming for their tours. And so it's a real impetus to bring in new members. And I would say that other clubs have asked. Right now, the host committee is just getting organised, and we're getting kind of the legal things done. But all of the events and the other things, they're there for the taking. You know, in Rotary, things are kind of organised last minute, and it's really what you want to do. I would love to see, you know, this club take a real lead role in this convention, and create events and other things for people to come here. What I've asked our presidents to do is to specifically over the next 5 years to make friends every year with some kind of international club. I would take a vote as a group to say, where would you like to travel? And then pick that country and club and say, we would like to create a connection with you and be an incredible host for you when you come here. So that we're really encouraging people to come. And with that in mind, when I've lived in lots of places in the US, and when I lived in New York City, I had a lot of people that would come and visit me. When I'd be down in Florida, everyone would want to come to Disney. But not a lot of people actually come to visit me in Minnesota. I don't think why. I think it's fabulous. And but so, for example, on July 4th, if I say, oh, I'm here watching the fireworks, everyone is like, oh, that's great. But if I say I'm watching the fireworks by the Mississippi, then all of a sudden my European friends are like, oh, thumbs up, that's amazing, that's wild. And that's because the Mississippi is as exotic as the Amazon and the Nile is to other people. The Mississippi is like the most magical place that people have ever heard of. So we really want to have the Mississippi as a real central part of the International Convention again, because to attract new people to come to Minneapolis if they haven't heard of us. So last year, the United Nations has partnered now with Rotary, and they want to create, to make sure that they keep waterways clean. And so this is lakes and rivers that they have an interest in. And again, these projects are everybody's for the taking. They just announced partnerships, and it's up to you to kind of figure out if you want to be part of it. So when we sat there, we thought, well, we sit on the Mississippi, and if we made friends with every single club all the way down the Mississippi and created a water project, for the Mississippi, and then again make it part of our international convention, that would just be incredible. So we're also asking clubs if you have any interest again in kind of clean water for the Mississippi and being part of that. We're hoping to pull us all together. And there are 1 or 2 clubs that actually want to create sub-clubs purely around kind of the Mississippi and water things as well. So it's pretty amazing. So we're really excited about that. Then, as I mentioned before, with making sure that we always keep fresh and different, for us to survive another 100 years, I can tell you that all of our foundations are going to survive, and the big Rotary Foundation is going to survive, but we need to have people there that can spend it and do it. So, for example, my club has been left with, I think we've got a $4 million foundation for Club 9, but we've got 66 people left to do the work for it. So the thought around the Innovation Prize was to create a prize that will be awarded to one of our clubs that comes up with the best idea of, again, how to survive into the future. Really innovative, very different thinking. So we're asking every club, and there'll be more details later on in the year, because the first couple of months, I told all our presidents we're going big for membership, and then we're just going to party the rest of the year. So the innovation part will be part of the party. But we're really looking for really new ideas to really make our clubs last as well, and just refresh and renew so that you're the most attractive possible. And then the last one. So then, if you have been appointed into a leadership position this year, or if you're new to Rotary, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So if you think, so for example, if your membership committee is a little bit kind of down in the mouth and says, oh, okay, let's sit down and figure out what we have to do. Actually, no Rotarian has to do that. The whole point of having kind of the central Rotary International office is all they do is sit and create strategy and materials and resources for us all to use. So none of us actually have to reinvent the wheel. What we do is we put our own flavor on it, but you actually don't have to do much of the thinking because if you go into the learning center, which is the slides on the right, that is a learning center for if you're going to be a new president or a new membership chair, or anything that any leadership possibility you have in Rotary will teach you actually how to do it. And not only they're really easy courses, and embedded within them is actually all of the resources of like the how to, what you use. It's unbelievable the resources that are in there. When I went through a lot of these courses, I was just downloading. I was like, I didn't know this existed. And so I would say that the first stop you want to do is if you're thinking about, again, your leadership role is to actually go through this. It's not boring at all, I can promise you. I think it's some of the best training I've ever seen, and I've done a lot of training. And it's really light and fun, and the resources are absolutely incredible. So that's the learning center that's available to everybody. So it's not only leadership, it's if you want to learn more. And then on the left is the action plan. So the action plan is something that Rotary International is really pushing for the next 3 years. And they've actually been working on it for the last 5, but they're continuing it forward. And the action plan is essentially it's creating very vibrant clubs. So if you sit here and you say, oh, we've lost a bit of our vibrancy, we're a little bit worried about kind of where we go in the future, then all of your information and inspiration is actually within the action plan. The action plan is really about kind of expanding the reach, expanding the impact, and really making sort of a much louder noise outside in the public and doing more. So under each one of those areas, you can learn more, and there's resources and ideas and thoughts. And so I would say, again, as a club, if you say with your strategic planning, or if you want to create any increased vibrancy, you would just open the action plan and you have your list of 20 things and vote as a club kind of what you'd like to do there. And so Stephanie Ertic is asking kind of all clubs to look at the action plan this year to figure out, again, how to kind of reinvigorate some clubs and then kind of create some of the vibrancy as well. So good. And then lastly, it's really to infinity and beyond. You have been, I've always told people that if my club closed, and we're not going to close it, we're going to go involved this year, I would want to belong to your club. Your club is the friendliest, vibrant, happiest club. And so I am your biggest champion. So this year, again, if there's anything that you want or any resource I can connect you to, not only do we have kind of the ideas of everyone in your club, but we've connected everyone at the district level with all other clubs that are sharing their best practices as well. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel there, and you have more friends there. And then beyond there, it's the zone, and there's region and Rotary International. There are a million layers of people that are just waiting to help everybody. If you wanted a session on membership or how to do this or how to do that, don't feel that every idea has to come from within or every resource is from within. There's a whole Rotary world out there kind of waiting for you as well.
We have time for questions, which is fantastic. I do want to reference in terms of the Mississippi Project and Clean Water. On July 24th, the MPCA is coming here to do speaking. If anyone is interested in swimming, fishing, drinking, you want to bring that July 24th. This is the first year that the MPCA has the funding to test the entire Mississippi River in Minnesota borders for its cleanliness and water. And unfortunately, it's compared to exactly where we stand. They're going to come and talk to that on the 24th. So we're already engaging in that clean water on Mississippi. And then questions for Sharon.
Oh, yes, Dave.
Sharon, thank you for being here, and thank you for your always present energy. We admire you. We're so glad that you're our district governor. What's the biggest opportunity for membership and vibrancy growth, and what's the biggest risk?
So I think that there are concerns within Rotary that kind of you're adding Rotarians who aren't, what we call like true Rotarians, where they're leading with their heart. Some clubs or countries are just bulking up numbers. So that can be a risk without explaining that we don't want to grow for growth's sake, that we really want to, again, have really great Rotarian members that are going to last a long time. And really, because I can say that when I look at all of the other organizations that I belong to, and kind of CEO, peer groups, at the end of the day, Rotary is where my friends are. And I just think it's because their biggest hearts belong in Rotary. So again, making sure that you target kind of the right people. And so essentially what I want you to do is just clone yourselves. Find your friends, people that are around you that will be just like you. And so those are the ones you would invite. But membership is a concern. And what I say in my club is that, like, I'm the luckiest girl in the world in my club because I still get to spend all the money of the people that have gone before me that have put into our foundation. So even if there are 2 members left, I'm still going to be the happiest person in Club 9 spending all the money. But I would like to do it with friends, and I would like to do it with more people. The challenge is that most people, again, they're like new organizations. Everyone goes to new restaurants. It's really hard for old restaurants to survive. And so we have to innovate our rears off. If you look at the S&P 500, the largest 500 companies in the world, there's a 15% survivability rate, which means that, the biggest corporations that have all this money to spend on people and consultants and thoughts, only 15% of them actually survive in the index long term. Now, some of them are bought and merged. But so it's actually really hard to survive a really long time without being just incredible. So we're going to be Mick Jagger, so Rotary, we're going to keep on rocking. And so what I'd like to ask you again to think back your specific club is that what would you need to do to create a waiting list at the door where you don't have seats in the room, and then really kind of really do that. And that's what I've asked my club, and to start focusing on numbers and just say we need to get bigger. Rotary historically every single year, probably Jim, you know this, is that they all going to ask for like +1 at the end of the year, and that's their membership goal. +1 is going to make us die. This year I'm really hoping for like about +20 from each club. So doing crazy things. So this is the year for crazy, and I think that you are up to it. One, two, yes. Exactly. I'm especially nominated for this year. So that's it. So thank you. So membership is the biggest one, and I have never, I've not really sat on the membership committee, but I also hadn't done fundraising before, and I thought if I could knock it out of the park with fundraising, then I am going to really try and kick us for membership.
Time for another question?
It strikes me that we also have an opportunity around the issue of onboarding. How to help launch people into an intense relationship, the joy that we experience, those of us who have been around. And it strikes me, we have in this room right now, we have 4 or 5 people that come from an international experience that we're not working with. And I think we have a unique opportunity, as I did with all of them. But on the other hand, why do we think about doing something bigger around international people who are coming from other cultures, how they can be integrated in a way that really adds value to their life. And we're blessed in this club to have Oscar. We've got Anna from Moldova. Tamtamura was a real pioneer in Japan. So my question is just, I think there's an exciting idea so we could bring to attracting and engaging, onboarding of the whole international community, not just for our club, but for the district, that really makes it special for that element of our potential growth. That makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. I think that you're really brilliant. And by the way, I love talking to people on planes. You and I would be perfect. 8 hours I would chat to you. And my husband always puts in his headphones and I'm like, no, it's time to make friends. And so in terms of international, you're absolutely right. Because the thing is that when we do international projects, we really want to have a relationship with the club there, and it's always stressful if they don't do their reporting properly. And so we're very reticent to do a new project unless we really know somebody. So Jim, if you want to do a project in Ecuador, then you would really scour Minneapolis for every Ecuadorian you can find and say, please come and be part of our club, because we need people to go and travel and be present and where you are. So I think that's absolutely true. And I hope that I'll bring a little bit of an international flair to here this year. I've always had fun making friends with other clubs abroad, and then kind of bringing them back into our fold as well. So I see the golden coming.
Thank you. So in honor of you speaking today, we ask that you sign the book over the name to make the bill in that property that helps our students and their efforts to be more successful in school. We're giving this book to a child in the third grade, so they will have a book of them sign of the letter, the biggest thing to keep in the current book. The Minneapolis City of Lord's Lord, and something in the
Thank you. And I'm sure Sharon will answer any questions somebody has, so hang around for a minute or two or three. Thank you so much, everyone. What a great way to kick it off. No one better than our district governor here to lead us in this year. So thank you so much and have a great